So yeah, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Duck Boot Camp 2024. I am Sonny Rathlevin. Joining me tonight, my co-commentator, our restreamer, and a very good friend, Jay Scheidel.
You didn't have to say the second part again. Thanks.
Hey, I'm gonna. You should know me well enough.
Oh my. It's been a while.
How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Not too shabby. Getting ready to see what's going to happen tonight.
Indeed, as we have the Fighter Week flags in tow for not only the Ducklings, but some Platypi and some Vets. And with that, I mean, let's go over the number one thing, a forced fighter. As it wouldn't be Fighter Week without a forced fighter.
Yeah, so slot 1 is a forced fighter. The other 3 slots can be anything except for a black belt.
Yes, black belts will not exist in this seed. And on top of that, the scaling is going to be slightly lower than what we usually end up seeing, with the enemies being 70 to 120%, and the bosses just being vanilla.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that. If you didn't catch last night, we had a reveal stream for this, and some of us who've been playing a while go, oh, that's how much HP Lich has, or what?
Yeah, Lich 2 does not have very much HP. But why don't we go over these blessings that they have, because there are no malices.
Yeah,
so go for it. We are doing sync.
Too good. Take it away.
All right, so the runners are off. This fighter is going to have plus 20 HP right off the bat, and I imagine most people are taking thieves, which are able to equip axes. Since there are no black belts, we don't have to worry about those, but the red mage that you see on Rob Draven's side does have heal plus magic. The white mage that you see on Shum's side has plus 10 luck, and the black mages are able to equip thief swords.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these two parties play, because Shum has that white mage, which we do have our white mage harm all flag on, so we might see a little bit of usefulness out of that. But the extra utility for black magic and that red mage, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I mean, the thief swords, they're nothing to shake a stick at.
Oh yeah. Well, and our thief, I know you said it there, but can equip axes. Usually we're looking for something for that thief to swing for a while. We find ourselves a light axe or a silver axe or something, and we're golden.
Exactly, but the first chest that Shum opens is a Vorpal plus 5. That's some massive crit and damage that will be able to go on the knight after that tail is found.
You might actually use that before chaos.
This is very true. It just depends on whether or not the Excal is found early, or even the Maza, which is incentivized alongside a ribbon.
Right, and don't we have the Mazas being guarded by Warmekon? Or is that... No, I'm thinking other flags. Wow,
I was about to say, that was
I played
too
many. I have played too many recently.
Yeah, that was the winter tournament that
hey.
Warmek was guarding Maza.
It's been a day.
Granted, I mean, we did just end that too, so...
Which, I think you said at the beginning, but if we haven't yet, this is our Duck Boot Camp, so these are mostly new runners, so let's see how... Well, on stream we have our vets, but trying to teach them all up what's to do so maybe they can join the winter tournament or one of our other leagues later in the year.
Yeah, I mean, we have our Duck Boot Camp right before the Duckling Derby, and then that's actually going to lead very quickly into, I believe, the Summer Co-op, if I'm not mistaken. But
I believe so.
That's later on down the line. Looks like this Garland is causing some issues, but fortunately Sleep 2 is actually going to do some good stuff.
Yeah, we must not have had much in the level 1 magic.
Yeah, I didn't notice any real sweepers there in level 1.
No. Like, we didn't talk about it when we were there, but it looked like white magic had life 2 and invis 2. I mean, if you wanted lamp or soft, it's there as well. Lock 2, so who cares about lock? Sleep 2 and blind. Ugh.
Yeesh. Might have to push to level 2 magic
Yeah,
without actually getting...
time.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Vaughn0619, thank you for the raid and welcome everybody to the first race of the Duck Boot Camp for 2024.
Looks like we've got two different strategies going here. Shum is heading over to get Provoka. Rob is trying to take a level or two.
Yeah, Rob's got some decent weaponry right now, so the level or two might actually end up getting everything online. But we see Ice 3, Sleep, Quad X, Saber.
I think Black Magic level 2 is going to do it for us.
As well
4.
as White Magic.
Yeah.
The equivalent of Fade right there.
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier, the White Mage and White Mage only has on the improved harm flag, which means that in the vanilla in general, the harm can only hit undead enemies. But with that flag on, if a White Mage casts it, it'll hit everything. And like Zani said, basically be a Fade spell.
And that's the nice part about the improved harm flag in and of itself, is it is extremely versatile and does actually give you 4 extra options for sweepers early on in the game.
Yeah. Something to note with that, though, is if Rob Draven makes it over there and picks it up on his Red Mage, like I said, it's White Mage only for that additional utility.
Alright, looks like he's... Is he going to head back to Canaria, resurrect the Black Mage, and go for it again, or... No,
we're
Rob's
into Provoka.
heading... Rob's going for Provoka. I like this.
Alright, but we got some pirates that are getting iced.
Hey, gotta throw those suckers on ice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't zap them out of existence.
I love that. The Ruby.
Ruby's not bad. Definitely need the ship in order for that to really be capitalized on. But hello, Mystic Key.
Did you see how much? It looked like 5,000, but...
It was
there an extra
5,800, I think. 5,600.
5680.
Well, that's really nice to find this early on.
Yeah, we can get it now. Now, did Shum just have that money, or did we sell something?
Shum sold an opal gauntlet in order to get that.
I was afraid he sold the Vorpal there for a second.
No, he went over to the armor shop and just sold off the gauntlet instead.
Yeah.
Called it good with that. Oh, Sarah's got the ship.
That's right. We have our hint givers on. So in every town, pretty much like, ironically, the old person in town is going to give you a hint where one of our key items is.
Call him the wise old man. Ah, there we go. Turn order for Rob on the Ice 3. Getting rid of these pirates, freezing them right in their tracks.
And Shum Bobby heading back over to Garland. He won't know what's going to hit him here in a second.
What's a night of us doing commentary without having puns in here?
Ah, I love it. As long as Phoenix isn't around.
I mean, once Phoenix gets here, then
we're in trouble.
Everything's going to be pun-leashed.
Oh my goodness. Alright, so we're going to get a Ice 3, or are we going to get a Harm 4, or are we going to get a Quad X off?
Both.
No, we're not.
No, we're going to get a Fire
not.
3 to make the party extra crispy.
But this
Yikes.
is doable with turn order. Yeah, okay. It's done.
Alright, Quad X, Garland's gone. Everything's good.
Which, since this is a little bit more for the ducklings, if you don't know, Quad X is a power word spell which will kill anything with less than 300 HP. As long as it doesn't resist
or
death.
fewer.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't resist death, you cast Quad X, it goes, is HP 300 or less? Yes, gone.
Granted, that can also be changed in the randomizer's site itself to be at different values or potentially even unlimited. And that's where it gets really scary.
Just good luck.
Just, yeah, I hope you've got pro rings or ribbons.
Yeah. Because, by the way, it also counts for you. if the enemies cast it.
Ice 3, just, so good to see early on.
Oh yeah. Unless I recall correctly, it is the highest non-nuke and non-fade spell, like for anything that doesn't resist, correct?
Correct, because whatever is weak to it, it will take, if I remember correctly, 210 to 420 damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it is neutral, I believe it caps at 360. It's a 180 to 360 range.
That checks out. I just know that if it's not weak or if it's not resistant to it, ice it.
Exactly. Also, next boss coming up here, because of that crown being in tow, Shum's going to come over here and fight the kindly old king of the Northwest Castle, who's really
And
Astos all along.
Another boss with conveniently less than 300 HP.
Exactly, and that is it for a slab. So, unfortunate, but not the end of the world.
Yeah. So, fun fact that I always like with Astos there is, unless the scaling is just really cranked up, Quad X will almost always hit. I forget what you have to make it not, but it's got to be pretty high.
220. If I remember right, that's how much HP he has. I think it needs to be about 250 or higher on your low end. But I'm used to playing 300 to 500, so. But I'm also a madman. Don't try to do what I do.
For most of us sane people, Quad X will hit it.
Yep. Oh, fast level 3.
Nice. I didn't think it shared anything.
It did not. So that is a fast all by itself. Heal 3 and fade here at level 3 as well. So good magic right there. But there's still level 4 magic to check. Heal 2, not so bad, but also not so great. And the canal is in Gurgu Volcano.
Ooh.
Fire 3, Quake, Stop, and Confuse here.
So that hint is actually a twofold hint. Because we checked, we know that, well, we have the ship now, but we know that Canoe has to be in Marsh now. Because there's no way to get over there.
Exactly. So now it's just booking it over to the Marsh Cave, grabbing that canoe, and going from there.
Which, another flag that we, I don't know if we got through all of them, but we do have vanilla locations marked for some of these dungeons. So if they're going into, I think, most of the dungeons except for C, wherever you would have gotten the item in just normal Final Fantasy is where we're going to find our key item here. So in Marsh, it's going to be down there what's usually guarded by the wizards on the 3rd floor.
Correct. We have all of the incentive locations that are on, which are Ice Ordeals, Marsh, Titans, Earth, Volcano, and Sky, set to their vanilla incentive locations. Now, Volcano in and of itself doesn't technically have an incentive chest, but the chest that is behind the red dragon tile that is normally on Carrie's floor, and will be in this case, is that incentive chest in the case of the randomizer.
Now, Sani, last time I played Final Fantasy Original, like, long time ago, I didn't see all these pluses next to the swords and armor. What's that about?
Haha, so we have blessings on the weapons and armor as well. If you notice, the Excal, or not the Excal, the Vorpal is a Vorpal +5, which means it gets, if I remember correctly, 15 bonus critical hit chance, 10 bonus damage value, and then I forget how much accuracy off the top of my head. I think it's 10 as well. And then the armor, you increase the absorption by 2 for each number and decrease the weight by 1. we do see an adamant coming in from the marsh cave. Now, I don't know about you, Jay-Shy, but personally, I hope for lazy dwarves.
Yeah.
Canaria Lock does not incentivize Ragnarok.
I mean, if it's not going to be lazy dwarves, you at least wish that that was TNT, so you don't have to go all the way back down there. You can go check those key locked.
Yeah, that's very true.
But yeah, it'll be our luck. That'll be lazy dwarves. It'll be just one more item, because why not?
I mean, to be fair, the key items do play a bit into everything. Looks like Rob's taking a little bit of a grind here, fighting off some images.
Yeah, interesting.
Unfortunately using ice, which they resist, but with their HP being low enough, with the scaling as it is, they're not too much of an issue.
I mean, we're already level 9, so we're going to be setting ice for a bit.
Yeah, I think Rob was looking for about that or level 10.
Something that took me a long time to realize when I started is, like, you can be at a lot lower level than you feel like you are normally. Having Ice 3, having Fade, having a lot of these extra stuff that you wouldn't normally have in Marsh Cave makes it just more doable.
Very much so. And, I mean, we haven't even really talked about Nuke much, or even Fade for that matter, since Fade is on the table. But both Nuke and Fade are considered non-elemental spells, and so there's not going to be any monster in the game that resists those spells innately. They have to make a saving throw more or less in order to resist both Fade and Nuke, or even Harm 4 for that matter.
I was about to ask. I couldn't remember where Harm went into with the improved flag.
Yeah, Harm falls in the non-elemental category with the improved flag.
Oh my, this seed.
This is a chain.
So, I was telling, I think it was Dark Moon earlier, it's like, I don't tend to roll bad seeds, I just tend to roll trolls. Hey,
Go
look.
You do, but that's what makes playing your seeds so much fun. Because you really have to think about your seeds.
If this is TNT, I'm leaving the stream.
But you're a restreamer.
Oh, dang it.
I mean, I could leave, but I'm not going to leave you alone. You just hear me drop out and come back in. Oh my gosh!
It's not TNT. Oh, hey.
Oh!
Oh, hey!
Oh!
Matoya paying off.
Okay.
Brew stick and best sword.
So for those that may not know about Ruse in and of itself, actually, Jay, I'll let you explain Ruse for this one.
Okay. I don't remember all the numbers behind it, but if I recall correctly, in the vanilla, there was just a stick that basically did nothing. So the devs went ahead and put the spell Ruse on it. And I believe it is 6 casts of Ruse takes you to your maximum evasion, which basically means... What, 3?
It's 3 casts, because it's 2 invis... Yeah, it's 2 invis casts per Ruse.
Invis, yeah. So you do that, you are basically unhittable unless the enemy crits.
Now, to actually give you the numbers on it, Invis increases your evasion by 40, where Ruse increases your evasion by 80. More or less, 240 is going to be where your evasion caps. And once you're at 240 evade, good luck getting hit. You're going to have to get critically hit in order to take any damage, or have spells cast on you.
And I now understand why Fizzle was yelling about me about the defense sword, because I was way over 3 casts.
Yep.
I always had it as Invis 2. Hey, you learned something new.
So we had the herb finally turn into that canoe.
Yeah.
No return for TNT, but we do see Wall here at level 6. And Wall is really nice in the respect of it's an in-battle ribbon. Yeah, what that means...
Yep,
Go for it, Jay.
Oh, One cast of it, and you're basically resistant to every single status ailment.
And elemental spell.
Yeah. So, you see a fire 3, you see something come on up, yeah, you're just taking the normal damage.
Yeah, you'll end up taking the resisted damage instead of just eating all the damage. It's really
Bacon.
nice.
Save your bacon when it comes to just the incidental battles that you get into.
No joke there.
Especially you find a 9-pack with Blaze or something, you're just like, oh my gosh, will you just stop?
Or you're down in Topher and you're on Kraken's floor and suddenly you run into, I don't know, waters with toxic?
This sounds like experience.
No, not at all, I swear.
Well, it looks like Shumbabi's going to give us our first taste of Volcano. We know where the incentive item is, but would you check what we call the Volcano Armory here?
I would, mainly because, you know, you might find some decent gear in order to be able to keep the mages alive a bit more. But that would be in my new player sense. In Shum's sense, I actually agree with what he did.
Yeah. Well, so breaking it down, we know that he's God of War. I'm pretty sure he picked up that katana. Yeah, he picked up that katana. Yeah. So both of our main melees have an in-game sword if we find the tail. The mages are going to be mostly casting. We know that we can buy silver or gold bracelets somewhere, so we know we're going to have good armor for them. Yeah, why not?
I mean, the only thing that would be nice to find within there that's not absolutely necessary is a ribbon. And the only time I would call a ribbon absolutely necessary is if you don't feel comfortable going into Topher and potentially getting zapped out of it.
Yeah. And the other thing that he could have found, we found right up there on that Agama floor. We have XP chests on. And so if you just saw over on Rob Raven's screen, some of our random gold chests have been turned into just boxes of experience. So finding a 5,000 or 2 of that really boosts your level quickly.
We see the waterfall tile here on the Red Dragon tile, which is something I forgot to mention earlier. We actually do have these trapped tiles shuffled amongst each other. So that mud gold tile, you would normally see that in Castle Ordeals, but instead it is the Agama tile.
Alright, let's see what a carry does.
Outside of Fall Over.
Did we just fast the thief, or did I miss a item down?
I do believe that thief got fasted.
Okay.
And going for Confuse. So Carrie is susceptible to Confuse, and if this lands, which it did not, unfortunately, that was going to allow Shum to have a little bit of bacon saved, as well as potentially save some charges.
Yeah.
Fade coming out for 136 damage. Unfortunately, Fade is the more fickle of the non-elemental spells, because its minimum damage roll is 80, where its max is 320, compared to Nuke's 100 to 400.
Yeah, you'll often hear it called the discount nuke.
Anymore, I think of Harm 4 as being the discount nuke.
I mean, that's the discount nuke.
That's fair. Shum's going to skip out on Ice Cave, which, you know, I can't blame him.
Yep. Which leads us into, like, trying to say some of the flags and stuff that are on. One that we often play with, but I think a lot of us forget wasn't in vanilla. The open progression flag that we have on means that you can go from Volcano up to Ice Cave without having to go back to your ship and up to Provoca. Really nice quality of life flag.
Very, very much so. And you can change the world in many, many different ways to however you want to play the game. Exit level 5 is really nice to see. Now
Yep.
the question is, oh, warp is here at level 5 as well. Never mind, I didn't even have to finish the question.
Okay. And why would both of those be nice?
So exit allows you to, as you can guess, exit a dungeon, whereas warp teleports you back one floor. Warp in and of itself actually has a lot of uses, whether you are in Ice Cave, whether you are in Castle of Ordeals. I mean, even just bouncing between floors and dungeons. There's the Titan's Trove incentive location holding the TNT.
Okay.
Warp just in and of itself, can save a lot of steps and help you with getting fewer encounters throughout the entirety of your
Mm-hmm.
seed.
When you start talking about some of the really, really high level plays, you start talking about saving steps here and there and trying to get into one less encounter or 3 less encounters. And if you don't have to rewalk a floor, don't rewalk the floor.
Exactly. It ultimately boils down to, at the very high level, how can I play as efficiently as possible and be able to go as fast as I possibly can, while also managing my spell charges and keeping track of my levels so that way I know where I'm safe.
Which, speaking of that to a small extent, you just saw Shumbabi do a few things there. Saved outside of Titans, walked the other way till he got to an encounter, reset. Walked the other way until he got to an encounter, reset. And then walked all the way through Titans without getting into an encounter. So this tells me there's probably an encounter or two really close to a hard reset. And he's just going ahead and cycling through those to get to one that he knows he can get to the other side.
And that's absolutely what he's been doing the whole time. That is the floater coming in from the TNT.
Okay.
Shoom's going to be in the air very shortly. Going to check these boxes and pop over to the Ryukon Desert.
Yeah. I just saw a light axe over in the Volcano Armory for Rob Draven. So definitely the fighter can equip that, but remember that our thief can also equip that if we want to give him something else to swing.
And you can actually use the light axe as an in-game weapon, which is not something you would normally think about.
Yeah. Well, and this won't help Rob Draven as much, but if Shoom had it, he could give that light axe to the White Mage. And since the White Mage has the improved harm flag on, that counts for the light axe. So that's just a free harm 2 for anything.
Exactly. All right, power cycle for Shoom to do some encounter manipulation, and
We have Ordeals.
looks like it's going to be the Ordeals play, which I like this idea.
Yeah. Coming here before you get the airship is a really good idea, as long as you think that you'll need to. From the river dock there, it's a really quick walk. But if you're trying to land on the airship, that's quite a ways.
Something you may have noticed while Shoom was walking into Ordeals is he jumped in the river, out of the river, back into the river, back out of the river, and did it, I think, one more time.
Something like that.
That saves a total of 6 steps that you do not have to worry about getting into any encounters. And on top of that, when you are disembarking the ship, you also don't have to worry about getting into an encounter on that tile. The river dance indeed.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things that you'll learn as you keep playing. It's like, all I have to do is that, and I'll save myself 8 steps. Yeah.
Unfortunately, these sorcerers are evil, and Rob
is in trouble there.
unfortunately was in a very bad spot.
I think that was on the way out from... Yeah, we were down onto the Agafor, and we were on the way out to try to save something.
Power Bonk and Dragon Mail sitting here in Castle of Ordeals.
Ordeals pays off.
A free gold Cheerio as well. Another
Ring,
Pro Ring. Ice Armor plus 5?
Everything was great except for like 34 gold.
What even?
That, like, the dragon armor, best for the fighter. Once we promote, you'll be able to get that ice armor up on the thief. The gold bracelet, just throw on one of your mages, save yourself some money. And there's
And the
promotion.
tail! Alright, so that katana will be thrown onto the ninja. The Vorpal more than likely will be thrown onto that fighter. I absolutely see it getting use prior to Temple of Fiends. And
Yeah.
Shum also made another heads-up play by checking what the trap tile right before the throne was.
All I know is such a vanilla tail. Come on.
No kidding there. All right, quick jaunt through the sea over to the Ryukon Desert, and Shum is about to be in the air. Under 30 minutes.
That's nice.
That feels really good. Unless everybody gets stunned. In which case, then it feels really bad.
Then it don't feel so good. So, another just little tip and trick that you might see, Shum's been doing it a lot, I know we haven't quite mentioned it yet, is you don't always have to park your ship at a dock. River docks are very important to really optimize your routing. If there's a river touching the ocean, park your dock there. You can go.
All right, there's the hint about the tail that Shum's already got.
Found a black
Pop
sugar over
open.
the Agaflor.
And there is the required loot used for only one instance in the game, and that is to break a plate in the Temple of Fiends 2,000 years in the past.
You mean you didn't just play it randomly every few steps when you were a kid?
I did in the PSP version because it actually had music that went with it.
Like, what does this do? What does this do? What does this do? Does it do anything here? Does it do anything here?
Pretty much. All right.
Hey.
Okay. I mean, French vanilla.
Yeah.
Normally they would have the chime, but in this case we see a cube coming out.
This is interesting though, because Shum can go down to Earth Cave, which is where I think we have to go now.
Waterfall is in play as well. However, I would bank on Earth first, just to optimize routing.
We know we have to go down there. We know we have to kill a lich. Might as well pick up the item on the way. That'll then give you what you have to do next.
Exactly, and Shum is about to promote, and this is going to allow everything to break open. Also, Shum has Ice Cave on the table. I forgot about that.
That's true.
All right, so with promotion, we get to see the Aegis Shield, the Dragon Mail, the Vorpal, the Katana, the Ice Armor, and the Gold Cheerio, as well as the Ice Shield. Pretty much everything that had been held
set.
onto, just equipped.
That Black Mage is still a little naked, but otherwise we're pretty good.
Oh, Rob Draven picked up a Mage Stick at some point.
Cool.
Which is nice for Fire 2. I don't think it can be overstated how useful the caster items are.
Yes. And throughout the game.
Oh yeah, I mean they're free spells, literally. You just hold the weapon or piece of armor in your inventory and you go into your items in battle and just use it, and suddenly you're casting spells.
Yeah. And especially for a lot of these like 9-packs like Shumbabi's on, if that was unrunnable, which we don't have on tonight, but if it was unrunnable, yeah, throw a fire stick at him, throw a light axe at him, throw the Zeus gauntlet at him.
Throw whatever you can. Even a wizard stick.
Yeah.
Does good stuff. And the wizard stick, it casts Confuse, which would be super useful here against this carry for Rob, but unfortunately is not going to happen. It's not in the cards tonight. But That light axe is getting some damage out, and that fighter is getting some damage out as well.
Yep.
Sitting a little low on the health, though, with that thief now on a knee at 62. But there's
Okay.
there's the incentive ribbon for Shum, and Carrie is now down for Rob.
Putting that ribbon on the white mage. Excellent idea. Remember, we have life 2 available to us, so we want to keep that white mage up at all times so that if someone else goes, hey, life 2.
But why would I want to ribbon my life caster? Oh, wait.
Yeah. It's so tempting early on to try to put that ribbon on your fighter, or like, hey, he's the one who's swinging, I want him to stay alive. Yes, but you want your life caster to stay alive, to bring him back up.
I mean, you could also be like me when I was a duckling and forget you have ribbons from time to time.
I think we've all done that multiple times.
I actually did it almost every seed I played. I made a lot of these seeds while I was a duckling, much harder on myself than I should have. But that was also in a much different version of the randomizer than we have today.
We're not going to talk about those days.
Oh gosh. Okay. So back when I was a duckling, which was also at the very start of the duckling program in and of itself, the randomizer was on, I want to say 1.8.
Oh my.
And we didn't have thief fixes, we didn't have the weapon blurcings, we didn't have speedboat, we didn't have some of the extra incentive locations that we have now. We didn't have the potential of thief lock picking. There were so many things that we didn't have. But the thief was still very, very good for the one thing that most people bring him for, which is preventing ambushes and running away.
And isn't there an increased chance of a like a first strike preemptive attack?
I don't remember for sure. I believe there is, though.
I believe if it's your first character, there's an increased chance of it.
Yeah. I mean, the formula that it runs to determine whether or not an encounter is a preemptive strike or an ambush is slightly beyond me.
Yeah, I've said it a couple times. I don't know the numbers. I just kind of know how things work. You go by
Exactly.
vibes.
You play based on how you feel with the seed. And one thing that I love to tell people, especially when they're really getting into the randomizer, is actually take a look at what you have and think about where you got it. And then you'll be able to know what the seed is telling you to do.
Yeah. Don't want to interrupt your train of thought here, but Shum's about to do something really interesting here in Ice Cave. Care to walk us through it?
Actually, that was going to be my next train of thought because that train of thought was already done. So, the fun part about these holes in ice is if you have warp, you can just cast warp and suddenly you're back on the previous floor, which yields the chime, as that is normally the box that holds the floater. At this point in vanilla, we would not have access to warp as that is promotion locked. It is level 5, slot 3 in the black magic, and that is the only promotion locked slot in level 5. So with warp in tow, that then allows us to go, I don't want to go all the way through this dungeon, and instead warp back, pick up those 3 boxes, and since exit is also normally promotion locked, we would not normally have that. And so it just makes things a lot easier.
Yeah. And just remember that a lot of people really want to say, hey, warp takes you back to the last staircase. That's true on floors that have staircases. That one, you go down through the hole there, so it's going to bring you back up to whichever one of those holes you went down in. You could also use it in front of the chest there if you want to go forward and get that spike tile or that trap tile. There's some other little places that you can use it that'll pop you back up wherever you left that floor.
Warp in and of itself is a super handy spell. The utility aspect of it is not something that I feel can be overvalued.
I don't think we talked about it when Shumbabi was in Ordeals, but it's also really useful to use there. If you get a pillar wrong and you know that you like, oh, I'm back at the beginning. I know that's the wrong pillar. Warp and go to the other one. It'll take you back to whatever pillar that you just hit to get there.
Yeah, I don't believe he warped in there. All right, there's the Oxy Ale. That's all 4 Fiend Dungeon items obtained. That means that Waterfall should have the Mosmune.
Knowing Shum's items, are we gonna go get it?
That's a good question. I'm
We
not sure because I think Shum feels comfortable with the loadout that he has. I
Yeah.
mean, that
Vorpal
katana in and of
X-Bow?
itself is super powerful. The Vorpal being +5 is a lot more powerful than it normally would be.
Yeah.
Now, the
And
one thing I didn't check, because we might need to start praying, is Warmech. Warmech's vanilla. So there is a chance of a Warmech appearing on this bridge. So if you want to see Shum go to McDonald's, let's make it happen.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna think the time investment in Waterfall is worth it. We got enough gear.
I do believe that you're right.
Even though we can like warp out of that, it's a one-way trip. I don't think it's worth it.
No, I don't think it's worth it either.
We were talking the other night, you could just do the Nintendo Power suggestion and throw the Masamune on your White Mage.
Which is something that a lot of people will do, myself included, especially if I have the katana and the Vorpal.
If
I
if
will
I
just
had
end up
this
throwing
layout,
that on.
definitely.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. And if you had, I don't know, legendary swords on the Black Mage as well, throw the X-Cal on her.
It's so dumb, some of the things we have. I love it.
All right, that is level 20 for Shum. Those Light Warriors are looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, with this scaling, he's looking good going into Topher. I'd expect him to get to 21, 23 through C, and probably just do a dive.
I think with this scaling, 21 should be right about where Shum's at going into Topher.
And Kraken should probably do it. We find ourselves a big Gershark Big Eye or two on the way down, take it, and then we're there.
I mean, that might push into the 22 range, but even still, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and pick up Wall here, like we mentioned earlier in Battle Ribbon, and Bane. You want to explain Bane?
So, Bane is an insta-kill spell. I believe it is Poison Elemental, correct?
Correct.
And basically just, are you weak to poison? Yes or no? Bye.
It is similar to the Brack spell in that nature, except the difference between Brack and Bane. Brack is single target, Bane is AoE.
One of our lovely insta-kill spells, which always work until it doesn't. Okay, never works until it does.
And then when you're fighting Chaos, it usually never works. Especially when we have the RNG fix flag on, or not the RNG, the table fix on, which makes it go from a 3 in 256, which, you know, that's a really, really low % chance, to a 2 in 256. Otherwise known as 1 in 128. Have fun finding the frames.
Oh, it's been done multiple times, but ugh.
All right, Rob's made it through the Earth Cave. Does not have that floater yet. Hasn't turned in TNT, but I think he knows where he needs to go.
Yeah, we've got it narrowed down. Shumbabi checking some greed chests. Interesting.
Hey, I'm not opposed to it.
They're on your way. Might as well.
For sure.
And I know they talked about it on the stream last night, if anyone watched Saracen and Loopy talk about it, but the room Shum just went to there. Something to remember is that on the bottom of rooms, so like that the bottom row there, whatnot, there are no encounters on that floor or on that row. Also, there are no encounters in a door or right in front of a door. So the fact that Shum had a step on that tile anyway means that he could go into that room, walk over, grab that chest, walk back out of that room, and have no additional steps added to his counter.
As the encounters that come up are based on a step counter in and of itself. And the way that the encounters get spread out is you think of a deck of cards. When you hit certain cards, that's when you get the encounter.
I'm trying to see what we are set at right now. We are set at 6 out of 256. So imagine you've got a deck of 256 cards. 6 of them are an encounter. Every time you take a step, you turn over a card. Nope, there's nothing. Turn over another card. Nope, there's nothing. Turn over another card. Hey, this is an encounter. There are 6 of those within every 256.
Here we go, Kraken 1. Probably not going to be long for this world. Fast goes out onto the Thief. 8 hits, 473. Kraken swings back for 97, and then the Fighter finishes with 7 hits for 581. Bye!
One addendum to the, the encounters there. Once you finish up the 256, it restarts. So it doesn't reshuffle. It just restarts at the beginning of that. So if you know that the... What?
It goes in reverse. And
really?
then restarts.
And then restarts? Nice. Where I was going with that, though, is like, if you know that your first encounter is 10 steps, or if you know that your first encounter is 20 steps, you hard reset, or you know you're back to that one, you'll kind of know where you're at on that encounter progression. It goes backwards. See? So we're still learning.
Yeah, the NES Final Fantasy encounter table is interesting. And that's the word that I like to use for it. So, you may notice a massive magic shop here. This is the Lefane Superstore. You can buy all 1 through 6 magic, level 7 magic from on-rack, and then the single spell from Lefane at level 8.
It really makes trying to come to Lefane before you're promoted just feels bad. You want to be here whenever you can pick up all those spells.
Alright,
Also,
there's the cube for Rob.
Also realize that that superstore is an additional flag. So if you're looking through your seed, check to see if it's on or not. Sometimes it's not, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go to Lefane to pick up my level 5 spell. Where are they?
Yep. That's happened to me a few times. And Rob's got a fun flag on where the Tyro enemy has been turned into a stake.
Goat saying that the encounter table goes forward twice, once in reverse, and then forward again. Oh my.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, it's really weird.
Oh, NES. What did you do?
Better question. Why did Nasir end up doing this to us?
Okay. We have broken the black orb, and Chumbabi runs into spiders at 47 minutes.
Right
it's in
at
Topher at 47:22.
Right at the tile before, just spiders going, hi!
Hey, I'm here.
Sorry I'm late to the party. Alright, Topher, the final dungeon. The only use of the loot within the game. And hey, look, you know those wizards that we were talking about, I don't know, 40 minutes ago?
Hey,
They finally showed up.
So, 2 fun facts here about Topher. That door that Shumbabi just went through is locked. So you're not usually here without the Mystic Key. So like no one really ever cares until we randomize things and then tried going to Temple of Fiends. And we're like, what? And two, if you do hear us referring to Topher, that is Temple of Fiends Revisited. So just try to give you a little bit of the idea on some of our acronyms.
Indeed. And Shum has now entered the back of Topher, the earth floor, Lich's lair, if you will, and is immediately greeted by some earth elementals, which, if you end up playing with unrunnables and you have the regular amount of unrunnables put into the game, that is actually one of the encounters that is unrunnable and shuffled into that pool.
Ugh.
Lich 2, though, the speed bump, as we like to call him. We're going to
Things
see
you
Quake
fast.
used here, and it was not effective. There is a chance to see Lich fall into a crack as the Fiend of Earth and just die.
It's so
It's
great.
always great. I love it.
But like normal, Lich lasts for 1 round, maybe 2.
One other thing that we could mention is that this is probably the most EXP dense area in the game, as it is the final dungeon. So if you are feeling low on levels and are wondering if you should grab more, this is a good place to do it. That third floor, which has the loot plate, has green dragons on it, which a 4-pack of those yields so much experience.
Yeah, I know a lot of people over the recent winter tournament who would wait to come here to get levels.
On top of that, do you remember what element the green dragons are weak to?
You're quizzing me things, and I've got no earthly idea.
The same element that the waters are weak to.
Nothing? Oh,
Ice.
Ice. That's right.
Also, Rob's found a very good tile here with metal slimes, and here's Kraken 2 opening up with an Ice 3. That's a little painful to see. That Thief sitting at 96 HP. As long as Kraken doesn't throw out anything else nasty, things are fine.
Yeah. So, correct me with some of my math here if I get this wrong, and oh my gosh, math on Twitch. But
I know, right?
The Fiends and their refight, the way I always remember it is Lich 1 starts at 400. So 400 HP for Lich 1, 500 for Lich 2. 600 for Carry 1, 700 for Carry 2. 800 for Kraken 1, 900 for Kraken 2, 1,000, 1,100 for Tia.
1,200 for Tia.
Ah! Did they break that pattern?
Tia's the only, if I remember correctly, Tia's the only one that breaks the pattern.
Okay, dang it.
I'm actually going to double check to make
I
sure
just
that
did.
I do
Nope.
remember that correctly.
10 and 11, according to Game Guides.
Okay. Cool. I couldn't remember if it was 11 or 12. I know she got buffed in some of the later iterations of the games, and that's why I remember 12.
Yeah. No, I could always remember it because just incrementally, but Lich 1, Lich 2, back and forth.
Yeah.
And just try to remember it as which fiends you are supposed to do in the default order.
Because it goes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yep.
And then we get to Chaos here, and it goes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 2,000! Also,
hey,
beautiful
boss.
Quad X. Oh, yeah. At least it's not one of the remakes where he has 20,000.
I mean, have you seen some of the flags that we can put together?
I mean, I've played a 10,000% scaled flag set. Yeah, no. He had 2 million HP. Except it capped at 65535.
Don't take a drink whenever you say that. Oh, my. Okay, Chaos. That's why we have Wall.
And that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But definitely not the end of the world. Both the White Wizard and the Knight are still alive,
Yeah.
and Life 2 in battle is something that is on. So gonna get that Thief back up and be able to
Okay.
fast up the Knight.
Thief has fast. I was like, I probably would have done the Black Mage to get fast cast, but I forgot the Ninja has it.
And
Yeah,
now we're about to see some damage come out. Lit
we're
2 is going to
setting
come out
pretty
from
nice.
Chaos. Oh, yeah. Life 2 getting the Black Wizard back up. 8 hits for 1607. There's only 393 HP left on this Chaos.
One more
And
hit.
that
We're
swing's
done.
going to do it.
So that finishes up Shumbabi with an official racetime.gg time of 53 minutes and 44 seconds, who is also our first place runner out of everyone going on tonight. We had one forfeit go in before that. Looks like we had a missed fetch quest, but yeah, Shumbabi taking us to first place.
Yeah, and super close between Shum and one of our off-stream runners.
Yeah, so looking at it, Shumbabi here was at a 53.44. Fryteeth was at a 53.47. I believe that
Yeah.
3 seconds in like an official race setting would call for a retime, would it not?
It would call for a retime normally.
Aha! I see a Shumbabi in the waiting room. Let's get him down here.
As do I.
Bloop. Shumbabi, you
GG
there?
Shum.
Hey guys, thank you.
Good game.
Thanks. That was fun. I miss these kind of straightforward flags that they're feel good flags.
Yeah. So, what were some of your thoughts behind everything here?
That early game really was a little rougher than I would have hoped for the new Ducklings to try out, but it definitely forces you to think out of the box a bit. I was really hoping I could punch Garland down once I was just looking for any levels or any gold or any weapon, and I got the levels. Then he has Fire 3. I'm like, maybe I'll just buy level 2 magic and then forget to take an in. So it was a very rough start. But on the whole, I think that the seed kind of laid itself out.
Oh yeah.
It definitely did. And on top of that, you were able to do so many of the tricks that we actually wanted to point out, like a lot of the stuff with warp.
Yes, that was. Once I got it, I was like, okay, a couple of things have opened up now, and with this encounter table, I wasn't about to dive dungeons. It was very awkward.
No, this encounter table was a strange one for sure.
Every time I thought I had a grasp on it, I was like, maybe I just reset again.
What was your thought about traveling all over the inner sea for all those items?
So once I saw there was a hint giver that told me the canal was in Volcano, and so I'm going, okay, somewhere in the inner sea is going to send me a canoe. I'm going to have to go to Crescent. It's not going to give me anything I want. So like, at that point, it was just do everything possible to not go to Ice Cave. But as far as the inner sea thing, it was I believe it was progressive incentives. So it seems like it's going to hold your hand in that kind of a way. That happens more often than not when you only have early open.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it wasn't surprising, but it was a little upsetting with those trance Sahags.
Yeah, those trance Sahags definitely had your number a few times. I had to hold my breath on some of those encounters and not say anything. Otherwise, I knew I was going to cause you to just get party locked.
I mean, I was.
Conkers.
There is no way I'm going to see 4 stuns. I'll reset before then.
This is true.
So we're seeing a slight divergent here with Rob Draven. I want to ask you a little bit about it, Shum. You had to know that the Maza was here in Waterfall.
Yes.
Any thought about going to go get it?
I mean, the first chest I opened was a Vorpal 5. I was like, okay, I'm not hunting this down.
That's what we assumed. But...
I suppose that if I hadn't gone to Ordeals and it was a gamble between Waterfall and Ordeals, I would have probably gone Waterfall. But seeing that Sea Shrine wasn't incentivized,
Mhm.
it kind of led me into the other side of the world. And so I was like, do I really need a white wizard swinging a Masa at this point? I've got a katana and a Vorpal, I'm fine.
Well, by doing that, you did let us talk a little bit about the Ordeals River dock instead of the airship dock, and it was a good move.
Yeah, it was. I knew I wasn't going to want to go to Ordeals if I didn't do it while I still had the ship.
Yeah.
And that's
Hey.
absolutely fair.
There was the Opal Bracelet as well.
Yeah, I was definitely a little greedy on boxes this time around.
You got rewarded
Yeah.
very handsomely. I mean, you had the Vorpal +5, you had the Katana +3, you had the Aegis Shield, you had Dragon Mail.
Oh yeah, Ordeals gave me
You had
everything.
Ordeals.
You had Ordeals, yeah.
Just everything in Ordeals.
And it was a fairly tame maze too.
I noticed the maze was fairly tame. That was actually kind of refreshing to see.
Every so often, you luck out.
That you definitely do. But yeah, I'm just astounded at the 3-second difference in race time.
Yeah, I was the whole time I'm in Topher, I'm going, Fryteeth is in Topher. I'm in trouble. Like he's an astounding competitor, and I know that he is very, very quick into Topher. He likes to gamble a little bit on earlier levels. So I was using that as my metric to say, like, I really, with this scaling, I know I don't need levels. And so I'm hoping that'll come up on VOD review later this week also, is kind of identifying where you should be taking the levels and when you should be taking the levels relative to the scaling on a flag set. Because this one, we probably could have finished in the mid-teens. It wouldn't have been super fun, but like with a power gauntlet and fast, it wasn't outrageous. I completely forgot that I didn't look for temper. Like I was like, I've got a power gauntlet, I don't need to worry. And then I got to Topher and I was like, wait a second, there's a spell I'm missing. It has been a while.
I mean, to be fair, temper was either 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I probably wasn't gaining levels in the Black Wizard at that point.
I wouldn't have seen you doing it.
So, knowing that this is geared more towards our newer runners, what would you say a good level or a good thing to come into Topher with this flag set would be?
Oh, good as in comfortable or good as in super competitive?
Good as in you know you're going to finish it. Maybe not in like the top 3 or 4, but like I feel really comfortable about taking this one on.
So, especially with the fighter flag set, I am going probably 20-21, depending on whether or not my weapon rolled up. My metric is usually 24, gets an extra hit on the X-Cal. And so around there, I'm looking the Vorpal +5, and I'm saying, okay, 21, if I go into Topher and I'm still missing that hit, because I don't know exactly the break point, but if I'm going in and I'm missing the hit, I can gain a level on the way down. It's not too bad. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, yeah, I'd say early 20s would be a comfortable for this flag set. Some of the runners may encounter an unfriendly nuke in Topher, at which point they have to kind of reconsider their life casters and their setup for that. But
I guess we really didn't talk about that much. Like, what are you looking for your HP values, especially for that nuke charge?
I wasn't. I mean, so okay. If I'm coming through the Duck Boot Camp, I'd feel safe with 300 plus on all my characters, but that's going to be pushing the levels really high on the Black Mage. And at that point, your fighter and your thief are getting into the 600s, 6 and 400s. So like unnecessary a little bit because nuke unlikely to roll super high. There was something else I wanted to say about that, and I lost it. Oh, because the fighter on the scaling with a Roost Stick and a Power Gauntlet is going to be able to get through Chaos. Like, if Tia wiped out my team and left me with a fighter, I'd still be fighting Chaos there. I wasn't going to reset, because it's probably going to happen.
And I mean, yeah, going into the upper 20s, yeah, you're going to be looking, I think it's close to 700 on the fighter.
Yeah.
because I think 28 is when you break 700 usually.
And since we just talked about it, I believe the max nuke can roll is 400. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
So, like, if you get a really, really bad roll and all of your characters get hit by 400, which it's not your day, but that's like the maximum that a single nuke can take out.
And you hit reset, and then you go, I'm going to hit this again, and it's not going to hit that high, because
Right.
that's highly, highly unlikely.
Unless set RNG is on.
Yeah,
and
set,
you've
R-
got-
set RNG is another
unless-
beast.
unless-
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game.
We'll introduce that to the ducks later.
Yeah. So while we've been talking, Rob is into Topher. We blitzed through a Kraken. We're down to Lich 2. We don't get a cheeky Quake like we did with you, but hey, one round and we're out.
I actually almost cast it on the ninja also, and I was like, I don't know that my fighter's going to be able to take out Lich otherwise.
We're gonna
I
notice.
think you would have been fine.
We're gonna notice a little bit of divergence here. Rob did not promote.
Did Rob happen to find any extra ribbons? Because that's the thing that I think I would tell the ducks to do, more than levels, is to get protection.
I do believe I only saw one ribbon that Rob picked up, and it's the Earth incentive one.
Yeah.
I know he picked up a lot more boxes than you, but I do not know about the second ribbon.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean that's why I went out of my way for Walt. And wow, there's that high roll nuke.
Yep. We were talking about it not too long ago, and it decided to show up now.
Teaching is not calm curse. Teaching is not calm curse.
No, it's not.
We weren't wishing it upon him. We were teaching. There's a difference.
I forgot the red wizard starts with the heal magic.
Yeah. That was the next question I was going to ask, is whether or not you had considered taking a red, but
I will almost never, and it's not a very duck-friendly piece of advice. I much prefer a white mage to a red mage. Mostly because I wind up with analysis paralysis when it comes to spell shopping, and I know that it just adds minutes onto my time, literally. And then I wind up putting things out of order, and I just feel bad.
that is one thing we didn't talk about, is how much of a detriment analysis paralysis can be.
Yeah. I feel like we talked about a lot of it, and then, whoa, yeah.
I did get a message from one of our racers who has finished. There was a second ribbon in Lich's closet.
Okay. Budge telling us in chat there was one in Armory. Or Earth Armory, yeah.
Yeah, that's the closet one.
Is in Twitch chat here.
Yep. Mazo was in Waterfall on the robot. But Shum, that was a beautifully played seed from you, my friend.
Thanks. Definitely, if I were to go back over it, I'd pick apart quite a bit. But it works.
I know you would, but I've known you long enough to know that. All right, Rob working on taking down Tia 2 here. Shouldn't be too much longer before she's down, as both the Thief and the Black Mage are laying face first in the dirt. And that's a nuclear coming out. That's a little unfortunate to see. But makes it through. I can't think of anything else I want to ask you to give the new Ducks any advice, Shum. I think we pretty much covered it all.
Yeah.
I just saw something that I wanted to raise, which is after the Fiend refight, it is very easy to get trapped in this. I just want to advance the floor, but there are still tiles after the Fiends, and the amount of runners that have died because they didn't heal up immediately after the Fiend is way too high.
That's true. That is very true.
And not just the refights. you go and you can fight some of the main fiends. You might get into an encounter right after one.
That is very true. And then maybe you miss the encounter, but then you forget to save on the very first exit, and you take one step and it's all over.
If it sounds like it's from experience, it is.
All right, looks like this chaos fight's going fairly well. For Rob, should be finishing up pretty soon.
This shows you a little bit of the difference, though, with that Vorpal with all the crit rate on it and just the Maza. We're getting some good hits. We're getting some nice swings in here, but that crit rate.
I mean, it also helped that I had like 3 power gauntlets on it.
Yeah, pretty much. And with that hit, Rob Draven has finished in 9th place with a race time .gg time of 1 hour 8 minutes and 41 seconds. In between, we had Fryteeth with a 53.47. That's still so close of a race too. Budge with a 57.33. Guardian Marcus with a 59.17. Pickles and Beer with 1 hour and 38 seconds. Thavian Hawk with 1 hour and 59 seconds. Osloto with hour 2 minutes 44 seconds. And then Scarcer with 1 hour 6 minutes and 20 seconds.
Let's see if we can get Rob in here. Hello?
You beat me to it, Jay Shy. I was about to do that.
Rob Draven, you there? Yo.
GG's, Rob.
GG's, man, what a seed. Honestly,
Right?
honestly, I would call that seed you're asleep. You're asleep. You're asleep.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you're awake. You're asleep.
I thought you were going to call it Inner Sea Expedition.
It was an inner sea expedition. But I also like to call that one a for the Ducks. I'm kind of glad I had that kind of race because it shows you kind of how to recover from a bad start.
Mm-hmm.
Because it started with Garland and went downhill from there.
I'd be shocked if every runner didn't bump into that Garland and try to have to solve a new puzzle. That was a very interesting puzzle to solve for this
Well,
one.
that level 1
Yes.
magic was just not.
Oh, that level 1 magic was. Oh, calling it garbage is giving it credit.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why it was not.
Yeah. It was a dumpster
Yeah.
and a half.
It wound up being useful later on, but obviously later on isn't what you're
Yeah.
thinking about 1 minute into the race.
Exactly.
That's the big issue.
So, a divergence that we did have, and I want to get both of your opinions on it. You both ran into that Garland. Shub, you decided to kind of jump on out. Let's head over to Provoca and see what we can find over here. Rob, you ended up trying to take a level or two. What was your plan out there?
My plan was to hope I was hoping that it was attack heavy, and I just managed to hit the one spell that really messed things up.
That's fair.
And so it was like, okay, a couple levels, we'll try it again, and then when I get one shot by Garland with the Fire 3 again, I'm like, nope, move on.
Yeah, I hunted down treasure chests, so I actually ran to Dwarf Cave really quickly and found a 5,000 XP chest, which told me I can go straight to level 2, because I really didn't want to have to punch down imps, because that's what I would be forced to do, or I'd have to go back in and buy a weapon. I didn't feel like getting a dinky hammer or something. So, yeah, I was going to use the treasure chests to my advantage there, and then if all else failed, I guess I was going to punch down an imp.
Yeah, if I were to go back and redo that there, after the first wipe, I probably would have just grabbed the Opal Gauntlet like I did and run back and just sell it and try to find some better weapons. Maybe get some magic.
It feels so bad to double dip. I think I don't know if that came up in your broadcast as far as words for the Ducks, but like you only ever really want to visit a town once. And so knowing that I was going to have to go back for a weapon and then going back again for spells, and like it felt really bad. So I was looking for everything else that I could possibly do.
And running into that Ice 3 at level 2 as well as Harm 4 that gave you the options that you needed, as well as Quad X for that matter. Since we do have the vanilla health values for the fighter week, that Quad X gets a lot of use.
Quad X is a very useful spell. If you if you remember to use it for one, and if for two, if you actually have, if you're getting it early enough that you're not depending on pulling some boss or something down below 300.
It's so interesting to me how many spells I use in the randomizer that in vanilla either they were broken or I just never really understood the utility of those spells, and it was always just pure damage or pure healing as a youngster. But as a racer now, you have to make use of these invis twos, the quad X's, the wall. Like it all comes back to like, can you support yourself through some of these really wild scripts that are going on and get out of the battle ASAP?
Yeah, probably a little bit of both. I know, like, you cast a spell and you see nothing happen, and you're like, well, maybe that spell does nothing here. No, some of it's just kind of a low roll. You want to cast Bane again, you want to cast that spell again. It's going to get there. It may just take 2 casts or 3 casts.
Yeah, Bane, Brack, Rub,
Zap, Quake.
Zap, Quake, Xfer. Yeah, they take a bit, but sometimes you can get it first try, and then other times you get it 16th try.
And especially when you're down to, okay, so I'm buffed up, my party's just standing here. What do I do with this black wizard? Yeah, throw out a Brack, throw out a Quake. See what might happen.
Well, Jay, I can't think of anything else to ask.
No, I think we're pretty much there.
Though I do want to note one thing that we were talking about earlier with the roost stick and the stick that it changed. That was the power stick that it changed.
Yep.
And fun thing about the power stick before we go into final thoughts is it's also known as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stick, because that's how much it's worth. So yeah, with that, let's go ahead and jump into final thoughts. Shum, I think we'll start with you coming in first overall, as well as here on the stream.
Yeah, so I'll start by just thanking you guys for helping with the restream and the commentary and tracking goats. And GG to Rob and to all the other racers tonight. I really love the weekly races picking back up. I love seeing the new faces with the Ducks, and I hope that more can actually join us. And just a quick shout out, because I know we're trying to get the channel, the FFR channel, a little bit more active this week. I believe on Friday I will be hosting a VOD review, and then there's going to be some other regular programming that's happening there. So looking forward to getting that off the ground and maybe chatting with some Ducks and figuring out how we can get everybody super competitive, because this is it's a real fun game to get into, and I've been loving it for years.
I agree with you on that, Shum. Rob, any final thoughts, my friend?
Really, yeah, no, just GG, Shum, and everybody in the race. Y'all did well, even if you think you didn't. Yeah, be ready for those reviews coming up, because they will really help. I hope they'll really help you get like see where you're lacking or where an issue you have is, and you can actually help correct yourself and get better. And eventually, you'll beat Shun Bobby here on one of these races. But no, really,
Eventually.
just GGs.
I was about to say, from experience, it takes a bit to beat Shum. It does.
Oh, it does.
But
I'm blushing, guys. I'm blushing. Don't do that.
hey, when we're racing each other and we're racing for real, we have to play at our absolute best.
I love that the community, honestly, everybody here, we push each other, and we do it in a way that doesn't feel like we're poo-pooing the other efforts. It's everybody really wants to see everyone else succeed. So I'm hoping that the Ducks start getting involved in this a little bit more, and you can be part of that family that I've grown to love.
I mean,
I
Amen.
yeah, I 100% agree with that.
every year we say that the boot camp is a time to teach the new runners how to beat us. And it really is that case. Like, I know everyone here will do whatever they need to help you or help anyone else just be the best you can.
You know, Jay Shai,
Right,
I
right.
brought us in. I'll let you take us out, but before I do that, definitely make sure to hop on over to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com where you can come join the Discord and jump in on the Duckling Boot Camp as it goes on and even into the Duck Derby. On top of that, you can watch a lot, if not all of our past broadcasts throughout the years over on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And we even have a very, very useful wiki that you can pull so much knowledge from that we have collected over the years and have gotten it all documented down. Jay Shai, I'll let you take us out.
All right. Well, to kind of go on that, if you are interested at all in anything you saw tonight, the randomizer in general, or just whatever, just because the boot camp has started, it is not too late. This is just week 1. There's a lot coming on up. So tonight was Fighter Week. On Wednesday, we're going to get our 200 level flag set going with Thief Week, I believe. So that'll be Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. Everything we deal with is in Eastern time zone here. If you are a Duckling and would like to run the Fighter Week seed, it is currently set up as our Duckling Weekly over on the Discord. So jump on into the Discord, grab yourself the Duckling roll, see what else sparks your interest over there. We've got everything from food chat to pets to Magic the Gathering and oh my gosh, everything else. So come on over, see what you like, see where you might fit in, and sit back and enjoy. I am Jay Scheidel. I've been joined in the booth tonight by SonnyWrath11 and Goats Pirate as a tracker. Thank you guys so much for watching us. We'll catch you guys next time.